Recording.
Greetings, everyone. Here we are. I don't know if you heard that. I heard that, but we are. But we're back to brighten up everybody's week here again. The sports writers, Bill Stacy, Salem News sports editor, Nick Kukaroo from the Gloucester Times, and we might have some others dropping in as well from time to time here on this week's podcast. So, gentlemen, welcome. Phil, lacrosse is your stronghold here in the springtime. Do you want to begin there, and then we can branch out? We got some results from some Monday action in lacrosse and baseball and other things as well we can touch on. But
sure,
you want to begin?
We can do that.
Lacrosse. I know you were at the Danish Cup this weekend, won by Peabody in the championship game with that 13-3 win over Bishop Fenwick.
Yeah, you want to start there? That's probably a good place. Yeah, I've been to a few Danish Cups over the years, and it's a great haul. A lot of respect between the two programs, which I think is first and foremost what makes it a great rivalry. The great Bob Danish, it's named after Bob, who, of course, is the father of Peabody High Lacrosse. But what many people don't realize, coached football coach and a baseball coach, believe it or not, at Bishop Fenwick when he began his coaching career in the early 70s. He was an assistant coach over on 99 Margin Street. So before going to Peabody, that's where he was. So close to both programs. It's nice that they can play this game, the Cup, in his honor. And Peabody has never lost. They are now 10-0 in these games. And, certainly for this past Saturday, Jack Holden and Drew Lucas were a big reason why. Drew is the standout defenseman for Peabody, Division I player going to Bryan. He's just a force all over the field. He can scoop ground balls. He can rush it upfield to score. He can defend with the best of them in the area. Physical, towering presence, really makes his mark felt when he's on the turf. And Jack Holden, a lot of guys can score, and Jack had a nice game the other night with 9 points, 6 goals. But it's how he scores. He can fit his shots into the tiniest of spaces of that net. You don't have to give him much, and he'll just rip it in there. And I think his teammates feed off of him. So Peabody's undefeated. They're 4-0. They get a big week coming up. They host Masconomet, which only has one loss, on Tuesday. They play Salem on Thursday, and then they have Marblehead, which is unbeaten and the 2-time defending conference champs, on Saturday morning. So that could really be a great showdown if they can get through the gauntlet. This is weak for them. Fenwick's a young team. Their best player's out injured, at least for another couple of weeks. Football injury for Stefano Fabiano. He got some pins taken out of his hand the other day, so they're hoping to get him back maybe the end of next week. But he makes a difference not having him in there. A lot of young guys around him. I think Fenwick is going to be much improved in the future. They have a lot of sophomores and freshmen who are you can tell they have talent, but they might take some lumps this year, especially against such a powerful program as Peabody.
Yeah, I see. Beverly was a 10-7 winner on Monday against Winthrop, and it looks like Swampscott edging Danvers 10-9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before we hopped on, I just spoke with Matt Reardon, the Beverly coach. He's the first-year coach over in Beverly. They've now won 2 straight, so they're on a little bit of a roll. They're now 2-2, and he said that to open up with Marblehead and Peabody, 2 of the strongest teams around, not easy for a team with a new coaching staff. A lot of young players there. And, of course, everybody's in the same boat as having not played last year. But, so many of their guys were playing real varsity minutes for the first time. So they took it on the chin for a couple of games. But they bounced back. They've won 2 games now. They beat Gloucester. Cooks, you were at that game, right? That Gloucester-Beverly game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Beverly, physical. I was impressed. They get after it. And you have to earn every inch of the field against them.
So they got the ball rolling there, and they kept it going today against Winthrop. To give you some highlights here, Matty Meza, junior midfielder, 2 goals, 2 assists. Kyle Oliphant with a goal and an assist. DJ Bikini with a goal and an assist. Junior Troy Martin stepped up, earned himself some more playing time, got 2 goals and an assist. Quinn Fiddler, sophomore, with a dozen saves. And James Silva, big day in the faceoff circle, 18 of 20 successful draws for the sophomore, along with finding the back of the net for himself. So nice little streak going for Beverly. And Beverly will actually play Swampscott on Thursday. So that should be a pretty competitive game, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Kooks, why don't we go up and get a Cape Ann update here? What's happening in your area and for the teams in the past week or so.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we'll start Rockport. Rockport baseball and softball, they picked up some real good wins last week. Softball beat Triton, who's the defending Cal Kinney champs. They put a 12 spot on them, 12-5 win. They're 3-2, so they got a squad this year that looks like it could do some damage if and when the postseason begins. And Rockport baseball beat Linfield, who was a Division III North finalist 2 years ago. Rockport come out and beat them 5-1. John Parisi's got a staple of arms here this year. He's, seniors as well. Jake Engel spun a gem against Linfield, but he's also gotten some big contributions from, Kyle Beal has been their ace since his sophomore season. Fru Rowan can give you some innings out of the bullpen as well. So it's looking like, it's an up year for Rockport as well. If those two teams are hovering around 500, they will be very dangerous when the postseason comes around, because they will not see anything in that postseason than that they haven't already seen in the regular season. So that bodes well for them. Over in Gloucester, I mean, this is the big news. Is there's nice some controversy over on the softball diamond on Friday night in Danvers. Gloucester's 3-1 win just sounded totally wacky and off the rails. I know we were figuring out what to do with the story on it on Friday night, because it was so confusing, the whole sequence of events. But we got it all squared away. Danvers protested a play in the fourth inning, and apparently yesterday the NEC actually denied their protest. So Gloucester's 3-1 win is official. So they moved to 4-1 in the season. Real wacky play on a ground ball in the infield. 5-2-3 double play. Danvers thought they scored, but the first baseman hopped off the bag. I guess it looked like a real bang play. Paul Bilodeau actually had a great photo of it, but it doesn't show it definitively. Both players are off the bag. Paul actually showed me his nice little screen grabs of the play in motion. So he's got the one that we ran in today's paper of the girl kind of jumping off the bag, the Danvers first baseman. But then the next photo, she's on the bag and the Gloucester runner's already past the base. So there was nothing definitive in there yet that we had seen. But the umpires huddled for a good half an hour and finally changed the call at first base, which loaded the bases back up for Gloucester. And Gloucester got a run on a wild pitch the next play. So that's when Danvers protested that change of call. But apparently they enforced the rules correctly. You can't really protest a judgment call either way, and that kind of ended up being what it was. But to make matters even more confusing, Gloucester sent a runner home from second base that was out by about 10 feet at home plate. But by rule, because they originally ruled the runner out at first, that runner has to go back to third. So Danvers thought they had 4 outs, and they ended up only getting 2, and it ended up leading to a Gloucester run. So if you can unpack all of that, then you know your stuff.
I'd ask you to say that all over again, Nick, but I don't think you could. No, I mean,
yeah, we don't want to confuse people any more than we already did.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that. So they waited 30 minutes on the field. They delayed the game 30 minutes while they sorted that out.
We're trying to make a decision. Wacky things just happen when Gloucester and Danvers play each other in pretty much every sport. I mean, we've seen field hockey, some crazy finishes there. Hockey, Danvers scored a goal 2.2 seconds after the buzzer went off to tie it earlier in the winter. There's always something weird happening. It's always entertaining, though.
You were touching on some baseball stuff, Nick. I saw Marblehead was a winner over Gloucester. Marblehead's a winner over Beverly today, 5-3. That's one score we got. I also have through the Matt Williams reporting here. I got it right here. Danvers scored a 1-0 win over Saugus with Zach Hamill singling home John Curran. Tyler Robinson throws a 4-hitter. A shutout for Danvers, and so a great pitching matchup. I guess Nathan Ing was the Saugus pitcher, so he deserves a lot of credit as well. So a great pitching matchup between Saugus and Danvers on Monday, and that goes to Danvers. So, and again, Matt Williams reporting on that one.
Yeah, he apologizes that we're conversing now. His computer has decided to die on him.
Oh,
He's not a good thing to happen on a deadline night. So we're trying to work on that while we're doing this here. So he
Oh, no.
apologizes for not being on the pod. Yeah.
Pull out the typewriter. There you go.
Yeah.
We're
You
gonna
know, when
fax it on in.
When I started, there was a coworker who worked on a typewriter and smoked butts in the office. So there you go.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about someone I know until you said smoke butts in the office.
Yeah, no. That person also worked on a typewriter, right? But he wasn't ripping heaters, I don't think.
No, he was not.
I was thinking back when I got out of college, I realized that I needed to type better than I did. And so I went back to my old high school and took a night course in typing. And of course, we were on the big old typewriters back then,
Sure.
I guess. That goes back a few years. But
ASDF, right?
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
You don't remember that?
It's probably a long time ago, Phil. But now I'm able to just pretty much not worry about it. I can just type. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Or what's the one at the top there? QWERTY, QUERTY.
No,
One.
QWE. I'm looking at it right here in front of me, Phil.
Yeah,
QWERT. What? QWERTY. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast, but I remember that. So
there you go. Oh,
Well.
QW. Okay, well, there you go. A little background here in the media business here.
Yeah.
Let's
You
see.
can see why it's super exciting.
Yeah, fast-paced world of typing. All right.
Hey, you know, something we should touch on here, I think. We're getting a lot of great information from the states as far as mandates or lack thereof with masks and all. This is great news for us. However, I would say that in speaking with several athletic directors, that does not apply to athletic events. They still want people masked up at games. They're waiting to hear from the EEA, to get their guidance from them. And the MIA has already put out a statement saying that, whoa, hey, we respect Governor Baker and, what he comes out with as far as May 29th and things like that. But if you're planning on attending an MIAA sporting event, you need to be masked if you're going to be there as a spectator. And yeah, I realize it's outside and all that, but those guidelines have not changed as of yet. So I think that's important to know.
And you mentioned that. And you mentioned that in the sense that if I'm an athletic director at an event and I'm seeing people around without masks and you got to go up and tell them to put a mask on, it's a pain in the neck to be asking somebody to even do that.
Yeah, which I'm sure they've been doing for months and months and months now. They're probably as sick of it as you are hearing it.
Yeah.
I had one athletic director tell me today that when some of the guidelines came out last Thursday, how restrictions were being eased and things like that. He said, it was like the Wild West at their games on Friday. Everybody just, masks off. And he's like, whoa. That's not what we're doing here. That's not the case. And, I did a couple of lacrosse games on Saturday. First game I did Saturday morning, probably 24 sets of parent or 24 people, I'm guessing parents, tailgating before the game, like free and easy, like you're at a Jimmy Buffett concert or something. And then during the game itself, I'm facing the crowd from over behind the scores table, and I would say 90% of the people didn't have masks. And hey, whatever, that's their choice, I guess. But somebody should really be there to police that too, if they want to carry through with that through MIAA guidelines. And I'm not saying, hey, rat people out or whatever. I'm just saying that I've heard from several athletic directors today saying they are still enforcing these rules, whether it's St. John's Prep where you have to check in ahead of time and then check in once you're there, or at other various schools where they have different protocols for allowing parents. I know at Marblehead earlier this year, you had you had to wear like a lanyard that said you were allowed in, things like that. So I think each school might have a different protocol, so to speak, but they are still in place as of right now. So for anyone looking to attend a game, check with your athletic departments beforehand. Can you go? Do you have to be part of a family? How many people can go per family? Where can you stand or where can you sit? That kind of thing.
And again, my point was, if I'm an AD, the last thing I want to do is to have to go up and tell somebody to put a mask on. But yet, as you point out, that's the reality of what they have to be doing right now, I guess. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to be the mask police. I haven't heard one
No.
administrator say, "Oh, I relish this part of my job. It's awesome." But I'll give you another, for instance, Bobby Bua over at Peabody High, good guy, athletic director there. He and Dennis Gruby do a great job. And the great Fernando Braz was there as well, kind of helping out, run the show for the Danish Cup on Saturday night. And a longtime friend of mine has a son who's a younger player for Bishop Fenwick. And he was at the game, and I haven't seen him for over a year, because of coronavirus. And he said, "Hey, do you mind if I come over at halftime, say hi?" I'm like, no, sure. So he came over around where I was, came out of the stands over where I was. And Bobby Bua, God love him, he's like, "Hey, I can't let you in on the track, but Phil can come over and walk over this way." And we had a little socially distanced get together. So, it's not like those of us in the Fourth Estate have any pull on this stuff. We're the same as everybody else, and you have to adhere to the rules. And I say that's fine. We've come this far.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil, if people see you at a game, I suggest they bring a card with them and they can write down what they want to say to you, and then they can pass it on over to you.
Oh, trust me, I get plenty of advice when I'm out. I get plenty of, "You should write this, or you should do that." I mean, every day. But you know what? That's part of the deal. So that's okay.
Hey, I noticed on Monday, the Salem girls tennis team beat Peabody 3-2. So that strikes me as kind of an upset.
Wow.
Girls tennis.
That's a great win. I think
so.
If I'm not mistaken, they had a win the other day too.
Yeah. So
that might be 2 in a row for the Witches.
Yeah. So congratulations to the Salem girls tennis team.
Good for them
on their win over Peabody. Yeah.
Wow. That's not something you hear every day.
No, you don't. It's the first time we've mentioned it all, in over 2 years, probably. Yeah.
Wow.
And we have girls lacrosse. I think I have the Danvers over Swampscott 17-4, I think, and Beverly edging Winthrop 10-9 in Monday action. So those are just a handful of scores that we have.
Might have some other scores here too. I know that Marblehead girls tennis defeated Saugus 4-1. Triton boys track defeated Ipswich. But the Ipswich girls team, Gaudio Flynn's team, they beat North Reading 3-2. St. John's Prep Tennis 4-1 over BC High. Nice win for the Essex Tech girls lacrosse team. They're 4-0, and they're off to a great start, obviously. 4 wins in as many matches. 7 goals today from a sophomore, Maddie McDonald, and her sister Molly had 4. So a nice win for the Hawks as they stay undefeated. Also, Bishop Fenwick girls tennis is on a bit of a roll too. They've won their last couple matches 5-0, 5-0. So congratulations to Paula Hanna and her Crusaders. They're all playing very, very well. That's what we got for today anyway. So far, rolling in. Today being Monday.
And I know in the paper on Monday, Nick Giannino had a ton of information on girls lacrosse, a lot of names from and stories from the girls lacrosse. So on that front, Phil, what else you want to talk, or Nick, do you think is of interest at this point?
Well, we haven't touched upon, but Kooks, I'm sure you probably know this too. We got word in the past week that after a 1-year hiatus, they will be playing the Agganis games this year, which is kind of cool. That those are coming back, and it's going to be different. How many times have we said that in the last 15 months, right? But they are doing it. What's kind of neat is, and talking with Paul Halloran, who is, he kind of heads up all the planning and helping to get the teams picked and the scholarships readied and selected and whatnot. But they're going to play a ton of games on that first day. A lot of times it's spaced out over, 5 days or so. But they're going to do everything, I think, but the basketball and the football on that first day, which is Father's Day, Sunday the 20th.
Okay.
So they're going to start with the breakfast in the morning. They're going to do the baseball, the softball, the soccer. They're going to go right through the day. I think they're going to have like 6 different games that day, which is kind of neat. And go with the basketball the next day, boys and girls basketball over at Glasgow. And then the Aganis football will be Wednesday, the 23rd. Now, one monkey wrench in all of this is that because we started the spring season late, and we don't need to go back into that as to why, but that is going to be in the thick of the MIAA state tournament season. So I'm sure there are players that are going to have to decide, do I, take this great honor of being an Aganis All-Star and, choose to play in this game? If my high school team is still playing, do I stick with my teammates and play in the state tournament game? If they're eliminated, that's an easy choice. But you certainly hope that a lot of kids aren't forced to make a difficult choice, because you'd love it if they could do both things, playing in an Aganis game and get to experience a state tournament after, we haven't had a state tournament in 15 months or 16 months now. So those two things which almost never cross-pollinate look like they're going to this year. I mean, what can you do? The good people at the Aganis Foundation have to be cognizant of the time. They don't want to start it after July. You run into July 4th and all these seniors are getting ready for college and on summer training programs for different schools if they're going to go on to play. And the availability of Fraser Field with the North Shore Navigators playing isn't as available. So they took the time that they had, the time that was available to them. And you know what, they'll make it work, and hopefully they can get as many kids there as possible. But the good news is that they are going to be playing it again after a 1-year hiatus.
And this is 1 year. So
1 year. Yep.
next year, right back to normal, right?
Let's hope
The
so.
fingers
Right.
crossed there, yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, Kooks, but have you've talked to either the Gloucester or Manchester Essex coaches? But I know, speaking of getting back to normal, some of our area football coaches are telling me they've already got 11 game schedules set for next year. They're planning. We're going to start like we always do in August. We're going to do, what we have to. We're going to start the season on time, first or second weekend of September, and play a full season. So I haven't heard a single word that it's not all systems go as far as that is concerned.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like, this spring season has kind of the first little hint of normalcy we've had on a sports front, I think, since last winter. I feel like the fact that the state tournament is looming, I feel like it's just picked up in intensity. I feel like there's actual, I don't know, I never got that big game feel this whole school year. I know there were big games, but you never really got it. It kind of, got to the point in some of these seasons where, teams kind of seemed like they were just playing out the string. And I feel like, the intensity's back. I feel like, the kids are aware this counts now. And I think we're getting a great product so far because of it.
Which is interesting, because I tend to feel that sometimes you don't get that in the spring.
It's true.
Because of, it's the end of the school year, and especially for seniors, there's so much other hullabaloo going on. Boy, is that like a 900-year-old person's word, huh? Hullabaloo. There's a lot going on for them to focus on, right? More than just athletics. So sometimes it's not as intense. I mean, I know, and that's not to demean any of the spring sports tournaments or anything like that. I think they're great, but there isn't always that same intensity, if that's the right way to say it. But Nick, I agree with you. I do think that we are seeing an uptick in how the games are being perceived and the importance thereof, and people are looking forward to a state tournament, which is great. I mean, think about it. We're less than a month out now from this stuff happening.
No, yeah. But I think, Nick, it's a good point, because I think ever since the school year started, there's always there's kind of a cloud over everything. Well, I mean, that may be too obvious, but and that there's always something much more important than the actual, game itself or the practicing or whatever, all these other things kids are working on.
I thought the fall was just really odd with all the, restrictions, which, hindsight's 2020. They probably didn't need them, but that was a different time. That was ages ago, back in September. I understand the decisions that were made. And then, the winter season, I just feel like, COVID was a huge factor in the winter season. Everybody was getting shut down. I feel like it was tough for teams to kind of turn it back on and off at the drop of a hat. And then, fall too, where I enjoyed the football. I thought the football was, we got the usual football that we used to seeing, but we just, I don't know, at least speaking from the games I covered, I never really got that big game feel from it. And now I just see kind of a different sort of mindset. And like I agree with what Phil said. I mean, I feel like half the time in the spring, it's the coaches care more than the kids because the school year is about to end. But I feel like everyone's into it this year.
Well, I mean, it's not like they've been in school all year either, right? I mean, just like
Exactly.
stuff.
And Phil
Can't
mentioned
wait to get out of school. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's not the case, right?
And a lot of Phil mentioned the senior stuff distractions. I know some schools aren't even having that type of stuff. So, this might be it that they have to look forward to this whole school year is this tournament coming up.
Well, maybe they realize too, like in a crazy way, all of this has bonded them even closer than normal. So it's like you want to really cherish the time you have with your teammates and friends now that you realize like, hey, we're finally back together, but we got a short time with each other. So let's make the most of it here.
And the other thing too, every person has gone through this for the last, since it started in March a year ago. So, I mean, at some point you want to get out of this, and people are dying to get out of this. And, with the springtime, and actually we've had a pretty good spring for weather. So,
Yeah,
for when the spring season actually ended up starting, we've had a great weather for the most part, for this. So, couldn't have been any better on that front. We really lucked out, actually, when you think even with the football lucked out as well for the most part with the fall too weather, for the most.
Yeah, we really didn't have. I think there was like one cold night for games and one rainy night, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. I mean, for 14, Friday, Saturdays, that's pretty good, I would say, considering the time of year that they played.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I'll let you go. Any other parting shots you'd like to share with us? Any other wisdom? Nick, Phil, little piece of wisdom?
I can't wait for that Celtics play-in game tomorrow. Go green.
Yeah, that's been a letdown, hasn't it? Too bad Nick's not here with the other Nick is not here with
Hey,
him. Yeah.
Banner 18 starts Tuesday night. Woohoo!
All right, gentlemen, always good talking with you, and we'll talk again soon. Nick Kukuru, Gloucester Times sports editor, Phil Stacey, the executive sports editor. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.